The state of Minnesota is known for fielding strong musical artists that include Prince, Bob Dylan, Dugan McNeil, and a couple punk rock artists that have taken the airwaves by storm since they were first established, such as Dillinger 4 and the Suicide Commandos. Just like any other musical artists, they all got their starts somewhere, and particularly bands like Dillinger 4 and the Suicide Commandos have flourished on St. Cloud State's very own 88.1 FM KVSC Undercurrents punk rock show. The man of the golden hour who spins the Undercurrents punk rock show, Xakk Asphodel, has encountered the entire evolvement of the show while having a blast doing it.
I got involved in KVSC in the fall of '94, coming back as a student. And I'd been listening for several years, and what happened was that I decided I would finally come down and train in. And I don't know why I'd ever waited, because when I walked in the door, it was magic.
During the earlier years, the Undercurrents show used to run at 1 a.m. on Thursdays, but thanks to the directions of former music director Sean Braith and former engineer Doug Visti, the show would generate a greater following when it moved to a more appropriate day and time.
We settled on Tuesdays at 10 p.m., which is still the time slot today since we've been at that slot. It was a great thing. We used to get letters from high school students that would say, you know, when it was on at 1 a.m., they would say, I wake up and either listen or wake up, and they would record it. And this is back in the late 90s. They would literally record it on a cassette off of the radio and listen to it the next day on the way to school. And that was amazingly complimentary.
Since the time and day switch, the show has taken on a whole new meaning like never before seen for many people involved in KVSC and the punk rock setting.
One of the best things that makes Undercurrents punk rock so special is the fact that he has this local connection to the community. The fact that how it's grown and evolved with social media and the way that he continues to use that is really incredible.
One thing that I've noticed with Undercurrents is not just with the music, they'll also connect different, say like benefit shows that are happening with different social issues. Xakk had put in a plug for our Camp Makwa benefit show that we had at the Keller Bar in January, where we raised over $315. It was really cool to see a lot of folks that I had never seen before when we were playing live in my band Sabotov come to the show, get plugged in with issues with indigenous rights, environmental justice, things like that.
Some superfans that dig a very serious interest in the show will also interact with Asphodel from time to time, will also take an aim to influence what gets played and how some listeners may react to it.
One of my good memories about the Undercurrent is I had called in and I asked if he had any beach slang. And he was like, oh, we don't have it right now. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, he's playing beach slang song. I don't remember what song it was, but I remember tuning in that week and he was playing it and I was like, was that me? Did I get beach slang played? And then I called and asked if he had bombed the music industry. And he was like, I have Jeff Rosenstock. And I'm like, put it on. That's a couple of my good memories.
Through the connections and establishments Asphodel has commemorated over the years, diversity remains as one of the key ingredients to producing a successful punk rock society.
One of the biggest culture shifts is the empowerment of women, people of color, all genders, all marginalized people are getting more of a voice, and I think it's fantastic because punk rock has really always been about that.
With the directions of how far the Undercurrents show has gone, one thing remains. It is a major medium that will continue to cultivate prosperity in the hearts and minds of all listeners, current and new.
The biggest thing about this is audience connectivity and interactivity. Because bringing it back to social media with what Xakk does with the Undercurrents punk rock, before he starts his show, he sends something out on Twitter, he posts something on Facebook, people can type a request they want to hear. It's bringing that old DIY scene of what people want to hear.
We take things for granted a lot of times now because they're so available. But if all you had was a record that you had to drive an hour to a specific record store to buy, and you couldn't listen to it in the car, you couldn't just put it on your phone and have it right there. You had to get home, put it on your record player in your room or whatever, wherever you had it, to be able to hear that. It was a labor of love, and that's what this show is to me.